Okay, so today we will discuss Ode on a Grecian urn, one of the important odes by John Keats, right? And this ode has been published in 18. Huh? Take. Okay, so this has been published in 1820, right? And as I was saying, let me repeat once again that 1820, this year has been the time of Yeats's poetic maturity, because he gained recognition and poetic accolades during this particular time. Okay, so these couple of odes that he has written really made a great contribution in the romantic literature. Now, so what we will do today? Today we will study the whole poem analytically, and while reading the poem, we will find the important aspects, traits, features, and Keats's uniqueness in this particular ode. Okay, तो start करते हैं. Thou still unravished bride of quietness. You are, thou means you. Thou is the poetic form of you. Thou still, you are still, you are permanent, you are not temporal. Unravished bride of quietness. Unravished. Here the poet means to say, unravished is something that is not destroyed. Unravished bride of quietness. So here in the beginning line, poet is referring to whom? To the Grecian urn, urn, to the Grecian urn, to the Greek urn, that pot he refers here. So here the poet tries to personify the urn. It is a personified subject, that urn. The whole poem revolves around that urn. So thou still unravished bride of quietness. So you are the best example of quietness. You are so quiet. You are so still. So here these words like still, quietness are suggestive of permanence. Thou foster child of silence and slow time. So you are the child of silence. You are the child of slow time. Not fast time like we live in this particular world. In our world, time is so fast, so moving, so dynamic. Time is not at our hand. Time is not at our reach. But this art that poet sees in the Grecian urn. So thou foster child of silence and slow time. You are not subject to change. You are not subject to decay. Again suggests permanence. Sylvan historian, who canst thus express a flowery tale more sweetly than our rhyme. So Sylvan historian, here by the word Sylvan historian, he refers to the maker of this particular pot. Who canst means who can thus express a flowery tale more sweetly than our rhyme. So this Grecian urn speaks more than we speak, than human beings speak stories. So within this pot, within this Grecian urn, there are a lot of sweet stories. Sweet stories means artistic stories, artistic depth. More is there than we have, than human life has. What leaf-fringed legend haunts about thy shape? What leaf-fringed legend? So within the Grecian urn, the poet might see that the legend, here legend means stories, leaf-fringed means full of leaves are there. It is full of leaves, and the stories that are engraved in the that are encarved in the pot is full of leaves. So it shows natural phenomena. It shows the ambience is pastoral atmosphere. Okay, the flora and fauna, isn't it? So we see a pastoral nature, and within the pastoral nature there are rich stories, legends, stories of gods and goddesses and their love, divinity, art, beauty. All these things are encarved within that Grecian urn. So that is more rich. What poet seems to be saying is that this art is more rich. The stories that we can see in this encarved urn is more rich, is more powerful, is more beautiful than human story. So what leaf-fringed legend haunts about thy shape? So there are haunts about thy shape. It means that it is full of legendary stories with pastoral setting, of deities or mortals or of both. Are these stories, the poet is questioning here, are these stories of gods and goddesses or of human beings, mortal beings, or of both of them are there? In Tempe or in the dales of Arcady, in the valleys, these are the name of the valleys that Tempe or Dale are the name of the valleys. In Arcady, Arcady is a place in Greece. You remember Arcadia, utopian place where happiness is there, beauty is there, joy, no pain, pathos, sorrow, suffering, nothing like that. It is full of utopian pastoral world which Keats might see in this Grecian urn. What men or gods are these? The poet keeps questioning himself that these figures that he might see, that he visualizes in this Grecian urn, are these men or gods? What maidens loth? There are maidens. Maiden here refers to the village girls, and the poet might be visualizing here that the maidens are resisting for something. They are preventing something from the men. Why they are resisting? What is happening? The poet is trying to explore the rich story from this encarved Grecian urn. Okay, so what maidens loth? Loth means resist karna, mana karna. Okay, so what are they resisting against? There can be some connotation that men, the lovers, are running after the maidens, and the maidens are keeping them away from them. So these are the possible connotations that the Keats might be visualizing while watching that Grecian urn. Okay, तो ये जो ग्रेशियन अर्न है ये फिजिकली एग्जिस्ट करता है या नहीं करता है, that we will see later. Poet will come to that also. Okay, now yes, the poet is seeing the Grecian urn. In the Grecian urn, the encarved stories are there, some figures are there, and these figures, by looking at figures, it seems that these men are running after the maidens, and the maidens, the village girls, are resisting against what the men want to do with them. So these are the rich stories, and the whole setting is full of greenery, full of pastoral country life, rural life. What mad pursuit! So there is a kind of madness in the pursuit. People are enjoying out loud. There is enjoyment to the fullest. Pursuit of happiness, pursuit of love, pursuit of enjoyment. So this madness, the kind of ecstasy, we discussed about the element ecstasy in the previous poem, Ode to a Nightingale, that Keats focuses more on the ecstasy, not just on excitement, because excitement is a limited level of a human joy, but ecstasy is more than that. Ecstasy is an overwhelming experience. Okay, so what mad pursuit, what struggle to escape? Those maiden, those village girl are struggling to escape the hands of the men. Okay, so these stories are encarved within that Grecian urn, which the poet might be visualizing. What pipes and timbrels? So there is flute song playing. Now, how is it possible? The poet is just looking at a Grecian urn, and how can the poet listen this flute playing? Is it possible? Yes. For romantic poets like Keats, that through imagination, the kind of painting that the poet is seeing, the rich painting which includes lot of stories, the moving stories that he is visualizing through his imagination, he is lost in some kind of different world where the poet is listening of flute playing, pipes, flute playing, timbrels, sounds of music. What wild ecstasy! So here wild ecstasy means excitement to the fullest, happiness to the fullest, joy to its peak level. Okay, so this is the first stanza. So what we understood from this first stanza, that there is a Grecian urn, a Greek urn. Within that Greek urn, on the very surface of the Greek urn, there are a lot of encarvings, and the poet tries to explore what is there in the encarvings, and slowly the poet tries to find out, try to figure out that there are the stories, there are men, there are maiden. The maiden are trying to escape the clutch of men in terms of happiness, in terms of love. And the kind of leaf green, that line, leaf fringed legends are there. The stories that are there, the stories that are encarved are covered with greenery, covered with flora and fauna. There is full of pastoral outset. And the poet questions himself also. He is not sure about it, that what I am seeing are these stories of deities, gods and goddesses, or of men or human beings. Okay, so this is the first stanza which strikes the keynote of this particular poem. This is very important. Now, moving forward, now here I would say most important line of this second stanza. Heard melodies are sweet, but those unheard are sweeter. Very, very important line. इस लाइन से बहुत बार क्वेश्चन आ चुका है. Okay, heard melodies, the melodies that we hear are sweet, but those unheard are sweeter. These are more sweeter. What does the poet try to convey here? Because the poet is looking at a Grecian urn, and in the Grecian urn the stories are encarved. Now initially he was listening song, now he is finding melody. The melody not that is heard, rather unheard, not heard. So it is not the physical melody that the poet is listening to, rather it is the melody that is functioning in the mind of the poet, in the imaginative mind of the poet. It is the imaginative ability of the poet which enables him to live in a world which is full of pastoralism, full of greenery, full of happiness, and this full of happiness brings music of joy, music of happiness. So that's why heard melodies are sweet, but those unheard are more sweeter. Unheard refers to the imaginative ability of the poet to listen to the unknown melody. Therefore, ye soft pipes play on. Therefore, the poet wants to enjoy the soft pipe. Here, soft pipe means flute playing, what he might be listening in his imaginative world. Not to the sensual ear. Again, here Keats tries to make it very, very clear that it is not the physical song or music that is coming to my ear. It is more than earthly ear. It is not the sensual ear. It is not. So here, we discussed that Keats is famous for his treatment of sensuousness, sensuous treatment, and we also discussed Keatsian method, synesthesia, synesthetic method that he applies on most of his odes, especially in the Ode to a Nightingale, and here it is more than that. Not to the sensual ear, but more endeared, more admirable, more adorable. The sound of music, the flute playing is not that somebody is playing, rather it is something that is happening inside the imaginative mind of the poet. So here the poet tries to explore mysterious, some kind of unknown music in the different world by looking at that Grecian urn. So there is the Grecian urn, and by watching that Grecian urn, he lost himself in a different world and he starts listening to the flute playing, a more endearing flute playing, which is not just limited to the sensual ear but to the more divine, more permanent music of happiness. Pipe to the spirit deities of no tone. Again, pipe refers to the flute playing, the sound, the music, melody. To the spirit deities. Deities means song. Deity means song. Now this song is spirit song, song of the spirits. What kind of spirits? Not physical spirits, maybe some kind of, some energy, some different kind of spirit, which is not concrete, which is sort of abstract entity, not physical. By sensory impressions, you cannot get hold of these spirit deities. This is spirit song, song of the spirit. What kind of spirit? Imaginative spirit. Pipe to the spirit deities of no tone. These spirit deities, the song of the spirit has no tune. It is silent. But it is your imaginative capacity to understand, to enjoy the music. Okay, so these spirit songs have no tone. Fair youth, beneath the trees, thou canst not leave thy song, nor ever can those trees be bare. So again, while watching that Grecian urn, he finds the stories, the music, the songs, and within those songs, music, he finds the beautiful stories that fair youth beneath the trees, the fair youth is standing beneath the tree, thou canst not leave thy song. Okay? Your song is permanent. Your song is not short-lived like the song of human life. Okay, our human song, a human life is a kind of music of happiness and misery. But this music of happiness and misery in the human world is limited, is short-lived, is temporal. But the song that poet might be singing through the surface of the Grecian urn is permanent. That's why he says, fair youth beneath the trees, thou canst not leave thy song. You cannot stop your song. Nor ever canst those trees be bare. The trees, every living entity is subject to die. But in this world, the trees, nor ever can those trees be bare. Now the trees is not subject to change. The trees in this world is not subject to decay. Bold lover, never, never canst thou kiss. So here a story can be understood. The poet tries to explore a story through his imaginative mind, that, as I said, the lover is running after the maiden whom he loves. And bold lover, never, never canst thou kiss. The lover wants to meet his beloved, but the lover fails to meet. That's why the bold lover, never, never canst thou kiss. Though winning near the goal, though you are going very close to your beloved, but it's a failure of the lover. Though thou hast not thy bliss, she cannot fade. Though thou hast, though winning near the goal, yet do not grieve. Though you are not able to meet what you want, what you desire, you should not grieve. Because in this world, your beloved is permanent. Your beloved's beauty is permanent, unlike the transient beauty of the physical world. Okay? She cannot fade. There is a line in Ode to a Nightingale, beauty cannot keep her lustrous eyes. But in this world, she cannot fade. Her beauty is permanent. Her beauty is not short-lived. It is permanent. Though thou hast not thy bliss, forever wilt thou love and she be fair. So simply speaking, here the poet tries to explore the story that he continues, that you should not be frustrated, because in this world your beloved will remain fair to you. Your beloved's beauty is permanent. So in this particular stanza, we see that Yeats is trying to highlight the permanence of beauty, permanence of love, permanence of a perfect world that he explores. Okay? आगे बढ़ते हैं. And now, slowly but steadily, we see that Keats is getting excited more and more, and his excitement level is is getting uplifted. Happy bows, and he is getting excited by experiencing the nature. Okay, happy boughs that cannot shed your leaves. These are the boughs, these are the trees, this nature is not subject to decay, it is permanent. This beauty is not transient, this beauty is always permanent, always perennial. So that cannot shed your leaves, nor ever bid the spring adieu. Here, this world will not bid goodbye to the spring season, it is permanent. So here, Keats tries to find out the beauty, the permanence of beauty, the permanence of world itself. And happy melodist unworried. See, in human life, there are also happiness, including along with misery. But in this world is, there is no sorrow at all. It is unworried, no worry. Again, it reminds me another line in the Ode to a Nightingale, weariness, fever and fret. So here in this world, there is no weariness, fever and fret. Okay? So unworried, this happy melody, the permanent melody is unworried here. Forever piping, forever singing, forever piping songs, forever new. It is always fresh. It is always evergreen. It is never subject to change or decay. More happy love. It is more happy love. More than excitement. It is a level of ecstasy. Okay? More happy, happy love. Look at the alliteration of this word happy, happy, happy. Many times he makes use of this word happy. So the repetition of this particular word happy makes us understand that yes, the poet finds happiness in all levels. And this happiness has no weariness. This happiness is completely perfect and an ideal state of beauty. I am coming to another important point by Keats in this poem. So the poet's search for ideal world, ideal state of beauty is what he finds here in this particular world through the metaphorical Grecian urn. Forever warm and still to be enjoyed. It is forever warm. Warm here refers to comfort. There is no discomfort, no discomfiture, no pain, pathos, sufferings or drudgery of physical life. It is forever warm and still, it is still here means to say that it is evergreen. It is not subject to change. It is unchangeable. It is not transient. Right? It is unchangeable. The unchangeable beauty. That's why he finds this world ideal one. Forever panting and forever young. Forever panting, breathing with excitement. Panting means breathing with excitement. Here the poet wants to say that forever panting, you always remain in an excitement, in a state of excitement. And this level of excitement is what Keats says ecstasy. That you will remain always excited of being witness of this kind of unchanging beauty, ideal beauty. And forever young, it will remain young forever. All breathing human passion far above. So, the breathing passion that we have, it does not remain always in a state of excitement. It has many ups and downs, isn't it? Sometimes human beings experience sorrow, sometimes happiness, sometimes other emotions. But in this world, the excitement level, the ecstasy is always warm and still. It is unchangeable. Unlike breathing human passion, far above, that leaves a heart high, sorrowful and cloyed. Our human life always has a kind of heart which is high, sorrowful and cloyed. Cloyed here means embroiled, complicated with different levels of suffering and sorrow and sadness of life. Because Keats is suffering from tuberculosis. Keats is experiencing physical, mental, social crisis. So that's the condition that he tries to keep in mind. while composing this poem. A burning forehead and a parching tongue. So it refers to the physical existence. It refers to the mortal human beings and their continual sufferings. Okay, आगे बढ़ते हैं. Who are these coming to the sacrifice? Now, the poet, while visualizing to the Grecian urn, the poet is exploring more stories, more rich stories. Who are these coming to the sacrifice? You know, there is rituals that happen to give a sacrifice, you know, a sacrificing of the animals. It is considered as a kind of offering to the gods. So these cultural, mythological stories are anchored on the surface of the Grecian urn. Who are these coming to the sacrifice? To what green altar? You know, altar is a higher place where these offerings are made, giving sacrifice, okay, and it is dedicated to the gods and goddesses. So, to what green altar? Again green, again it refers to pastoral ambience, pastoral world, country world. O mysterious priest. There can be a priest, but it is mysterious, it is not clear, it is not logically clear. Okay, so for Keats, if we need to understand Keats's poems, especially Keats's odes, so we have to understand Keats's negative capability. Because Keats is within the spell of his negative capability, isn't it? Because for him, he doesn't know what is there. He might be a priest or it is not clear. So it is mysterious priest. So Keats here embraces all kinds of uncertainties without needing facts or reason. He is not running after logic and reason. Why it is happening? Why not is it happening? No. He surrenders himself to the world of mysteries and uncertainties. That is what his negative capability. Okay, so we have to acknowledge negative capability and that will help us to understand this point. So, to what green altar, O mysterious priest, leadst thou that heifer lowing at the skies? So, maybe the poet is saying that there is a mysterious priest who is bringing the heifer, the cow, mooing cow, who is coming, lowing here refers mooing. The mooing cow is coming and looking at the sky because this animal has to be sacrificed and it will be treated as an offerings to the gods. It is their cultural practices. That is what yet Keats is visualizing through the surface of the Grecian urn. And all her silken flanks with garlands dressed, the animal, the young, that cow, that mooing cow is covered with green leaves, okay, decorated with green leaves, all her silken flanks with garlands dressed. What little town by river or seashore or mountain built with peaceful citadel is emptied of this folk, this pious morn? So again, the poet, through his repetitive questions, the poet is getting excited by being witness of this kind of cultural practices, festivals, enjoyment, joy, happiness, music. All these things are happening inside the imaginative mind of the poet. And little town, thy streets for evermore. Little town, thy streets These kind of expressions are reference of pastoral country life, rural life. And little town, thy streets forevermore will silent be, and not a soul to tell why thou art desolate can ever return. So in this particular stanza, the poet again feels ecstatic about the cultural variety on the pastoral framework that is, encarved on the body of the Grecian urn. This is going to be the last stanza. O Attic shape, Attic, Athenian shape. Attic here refers to Athens. Okay, because Keats was highly influenced by classical art and literature, right? Classical art and literature, and Athens was the place for art and literature at that time. Okay, so O Attic shape, fair attitude. Fair attitude. What do you mean by this? Fair attitude. It refers to the complete work of art that the poet is seeing in the Grecian urn. With breed of marble men and maidens. It is made of marble. What the poet is visualizing, that the urn, the marble Grecian urn, is full of men and maiden, men and village girls, overwrought with forest branches and the trodden weed, thou silent form. So, thou means that urn he is referring. Okay? So, you are the silent form, you are not moving. Silent here refers to the frozen nature of the urn. It is frozen, it is not living object, it is inanimate object, it is frozen. So, number one, it has no life. Number two, though it has no physical life, but still it is more rich and permanent. Silent form, dost tease us out of thought as doth eternity. So, it is similar to eternity. You are eternal. Okay, though you look frozen, but within your frozen nature comes out eternal beauty, ideal form. Cold pastoral, very, very important expression. Very important expression. Question will come from this stanza. Cold pastoral, very important question. Because pastoral, what is pastoral? Pastoral means there will be, full of greenery, flora and fauna, right? Country life, full of happiness, full of living, full of enjoyment. Okay, so vibrant life. But here, it is cold pastoral. Cold. Why cold? Because the Grecian urn is frozen object. It has no life. That's why inanimate object. Cold here refers to the inanimate object of the urn. That's why it is cold pastoral. Okay, most important expression throughout this poem, cold pastoral. If we really understand the meaning underneath this expression, cold pastoral, then your job is done. Okay, so cold pastoral refers to the frozen nature of the Grecian urn, but still it has ideal and eternal beauty. When old age shall this generation waste, thou shalt remain. When the old age is subject to die, you will not die. You are permanent. Your beauty is permanent. The beauty of art that it expresses is unchangeable. Thou shalt remain in midst of other woe than ours, a friend to man and to whom thou sayest. And the last but not the least important line, beauty is truth, truth, beauty. That is all you know on earth and all you need to know. So we need to know the real definition of beauty, the real definition of truth. So here in this poem, Keats tries to explore other meanings of beauty and truth of art. That beauty is not something that we experience in our physical life. Beauty is something that is unchangeable, that is permanent, not transient. Okay, so if something is beautiful is truth, or truth beauty. If something is real truth, then that definitely is beautiful. Okay, there is a analogy in our culture, in Indian culture, Satyam Shivam Sundaram. So beauty, truth, truth, beauty. What is truth? Is real beauty. And if something is beautiful, must have permanent truth in it. That is the real beauty, which is not confined by physical beauty, but by some kind of unchanging permanent beauty. And you know on earth, and all you need to know, we know, but we need to understand it more. We have to broaden our concept of what beauty is and what truth is and what real art is. So this is the complete understanding of the whole poem. Little mature one, then Ode to a Nightingale. In Ode to a Nightingale में थोड़ा that is more about excitement and more about sufferings. But in this poem there is lack of suffering, no suffering. There is ecstasy, isn't it? More ecstasy. Okay. Now, and it is published in 1820, right? अब हम क्या करेंगे? We will have some critical insights from this. जो referential जो questions हो सकता है by picking up the expressions, lines, वो मैं बताया जैसे cold pastoral, sylvan historian, okay, beauty is truth, truth beauty, right? These are some of the important, ये हमें याद रखना है बहुत अच्छे से. ठीक है, आगे बढ़ते हैं. Let's have some critical insights about this particular poem. So this kind of arm that poet is visualizing. Actually, there is no physical arm. This is the arm of Keats's mind. This is the Grecian arm of Keats's imagination. There is no arm at all. There is no proof. There are some interpretations that's of some museum of Keats's friend. That's why he came to know and he thinks about that arm. But these are interpretations. There is no real proof. So, and since he is a typical romantic poet, so it is more important to understand that there is no physical existence of any arm. It is the imaginative arm. It is the metaphorical arm, Grecian arm by Keats. Okay. See, these are some pictures that is encarved on the surface of the arm. So now you can see Ode on a Grecian arm and ekphrastic एक्सप्लोरेशन. ये वर्ड का मतलब हम अच्छे से समझेंगे, बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट वर्ड है. दिस वर्ड एक्चुअली स्ट्राइक्स द की नोट ऑफ दिस पर्टिकुलर पोएम. एक फ्रेसिस. क्या होता है एक फ्रेसिस? देखते हैं. सो वी डिस्कस्ड द फर्स्ट स्टैंजा. व्हाट वी सी? द आर्म एज ए कंपेनियन. इट इज अ काइंड ऑफ फ्रेंड, राइट? The opening lines establish the poem as ekphrasis. Ekphrasis मतलब It is a number one, it is a personified urn, because the poet is talking to that urn, that thou this, thou that, you are this, you are that. So the poet is talking in such a way with the urn as if the urn is an animate object, but that's not the case. So it is a case of personification. It is a figure of speech. It is a rhetorical device, the urn. Okay? The speaker is in a state of relative calm before the object provokes intellectual dilemmas. So ekphrasis का मतलब मैं बता देता हूँ. Ekphrasis is what Keats makes use of in this poem, especially in the first stanza. Ekphrasis is a verbal description of visual work of art. So that Grecian urn is a work of art, and we are seeing it, we are enjoying its beauty by watching it, and you are thinking about it, you are speaking out of it. So ekphrasis is a verbal description of visual work of art. That is ekphrasis. That's why the whole poem is an ekphrastic poem. Ekphrastic poem. Before the object provokes intellectual dilemmas, this urn has an intimate relationship with quietness, because the urn is so quiet. Number one, it is frozen, it is inanimate, it has no life. But number two is more important. This quietness is the permanent silence. That is the permanence of beauty, what Keats refers here. Okay. Now there was the expression like silence, still, slow time. Okay. The urn is the foster child of silence, slow time. Slow time means not fast time that human beings experience in our life. Time is so fast. You know, there is a line, do you remember, in Andrew Marvell's To His Coy Mistress, time's winged chariot. So time is flying away, but in this world it is slow time, permanent beauty. The latter phrase, the slow time, suggests the urn is made of the earth relying on organic processes that take a long time to develop. Okay, so it is organic, so it takes a long time to develop, and it is slow time. It is so still, it is so quiet. Now, the sibilance, let's see sibilance. If you see the first line, 1 to 3 lines of the first stanza, so there is s sound is used repetitively. Still, silence, slow, this repetitive sound, hissing sound. Okay, so the use of repetitive hissing sound is called sibilance. Okay, it is called sibilance, S-I-B-I-L-A-N-C-E, sibilance. So question may come from this, that sibilance is reflected in A, B, C, D. So, and you have to pick up. So sibilance refers to the repetitive hissing sound of S, sound, slow time, still, silence, sylvan. Okay. Now, we discussed leaf-fringed legend, है ना? Leaf-fringed legend. The speaker wonders what legend framed with leaves can be found around the urn's shape. So the poet is trying to find out, trying to carve out what frames are there. Legend means stories. Leaf-fringed matlab full of leaves, covered with leaves, green leaves. Deities or mortals, goddesses or human beings, or both, are depicted in temp or dales of Arcady, in the vales of Arcadia that are encarved on the body of the urn, which the poet is trying to explore. Mad pursuit, ecstasy, I was talking of ecstasy. Okay, The speaker questions, what men or gods are these? What maidens loth? What village girl is resisting for? Because the men, their lovers, are running after them to meet with them. But these joyful stories are encouraged. What pipes and timbrels, what wild ecstasy. This music has no tone. Heard melodies are sweet, but those unheard are more sweeter. So it is the unheard melodies of the imagination of Keats's mind that is more ideal. Okay, so imaginary music I was talking about. Heard melodies are sweet, but those unheard are sweeter. The pipes play not to our physical ears. It is the sound of the mind. It is the sound of the imaginative consciousness, imaginative psyche. Okay, sometimes we feel the sound, the music of happiness, the music of success, the song of success. Okay, but to the ears of our imagination, these are better loved than our real ears. Okay, eternal moment, visual art. So, Grecian urn is a visual work of art, isn't it? It is an ekphrasis object, because the poet gives verbal description about the visual work of art. Captures only one moment and makes it eternal. The youth are always under the trees, always hearing the same song. The trees will never lose their leaves, because this is the ideal world. Nothing is going wrong, nothing is subject to change or decay. Okay, there is no place for transience or temporal existence. All are unchanging and permanent. Forever fair, it will remain forever fair. Okay, now happy bows, and the time, how many times he used this word happy bows, happy bows. Okay, and it suggests Keats's ecstasy. Eternal spring, here spring season will not change. It is eternal, it is always, unchanging. The branches will never lose their leaves. They never say goodbye to spring. It is always spring. It is always spring. It is permanently spring, no change. Unworried melodist. The happy musician, unworried. The musician is unworried. There is no worry, there is no pain. It is always happy. Okay. Now there was the part of sacrifice, the procession that I was talking about, that offerings are made to the gods, that heifer, that mooing cow, which is to be sacrificed, and this offering is made to the goddesses on a green altar. Some people are coming to a sacrifice, an event of animal burning as an offering to the gods. The heifer, the priest is leading a young cow to be sacrificed. The cow is mooing. Okay. Now the last stanza we see Attic shape. The urn is decorated with marble, men and women amongst green trees and plants under their feet. So this is the Attic shape. This is how the poet is, communicating. The poet is talking, communicating to that inanimate object. Okay. Silent form. What do you mean by silent here? Here silent means permanent. Quiet means permanent beauty. Ideal form of art. Ideal form of beauty. The quiet urn challenges our thoughts as much as eternity. So it is very similar to eternal beauty. Cold pastoral, most important expression. Cold pastoral, the scene on the urn is cold and not sweet. A paradox. It is an example of paradox. Because if something is pastoral, cannot remain cold. It will be warm, full of happiness, full of greenery, flora and fauna. but here it is a paradoxical expression, cold pastoral, or you can say figuratively अगर इसको बोला जाए, it is an oxymoron. Two opposite words. Pastoral is never cold, it is always warm, comfortable, happy, jolly kind of world. Cold means kind of frozen nature, which has no life, which has no vibrance. That's why this is important. How paradox is reflected, cold pastoral. Okay, though this is cold, though this has no life, but still it has eternal beauty in it. So now, what are the takeaways? I discussed most of the points that is associated with this ode. Now, but still, let me pick up some takeaways so that you can keep a mind in it. Ekphrastic poetry. It exemplifies ekphrastic poetry, a verbal description of a visual artwork. What is that? Grecian art. Okay. The poem explores themes of art, beauty, and the transient nature of life. So again, there is a dichotomy that the poet presents over here. The dichotomy between transience and permanence, the ideal and the non-ideal. This dichotomy continues in most of his poetry, especially in most of his odes. In Nightingale also, we have seen this dichotomy. The world of Nightingale is full of permanent beauty, permanent through that song. Here through this Grecian urn, beauty is truth. So if something is truthful, is beautiful. So the definition of beauty has changed here. The definition of beauty gets broadened here. Beauty should not be treated from a physical or materialistic point of view, because it is subject to change, it is subject to decay. The beauty cannot keep our lustrous eyes. Okay? But the poet tries to explore the beauty which is unchangeable, which is permanent. So imparts the message that beauty is truth, truth, beauty, encapsulating all we need to know on earth. On earth, in this world, we have to understand the importance of real beauty and real truth. Then it would be, important contribution in life. This is what Keats tries to send this message to us. Okay. Now, so this is all about this particular ode. Ode on a Grecian urn expresses, most importantly, this is ekphrastic poem. Now let us have some MCQ questions. 25 MCQ questions are there. 25 क्वेश्चन मैं प्रिपेयर किया हूँ, तो it would be easy for us. थोड़ा और this is the third revision that I am going to do. इसके बाद और कोई भी क्वेश्चन हो, we can definitely do it with proper knowledge. What is the main theme of Ode on a Grecian urn? The fleeting nature of beauty, the permanence of art, the power of love, the passage of time. So it is the permanence of art, right? So he finds permanence of art even in the cold pastoral Grecian urn. How does the poet describe the urn in the opening line? A silent piece of art. So the poet describes the urn, a historian that tells a story, a sylvan historian, a maker of the urn. What type of poetry is Ode on a Grecian urn? It is lyric, sonnet, epic, dramatic monologue. Lyric, because here the poet expresses his personal, subjective, imaginative self. Okay? Subjective experience. That's why it is lyric. What does Keats mean by unravished bride of quietness? Unravished is a metaphorical expression for something that is not destroyed, not exploited. So this work of art, this urn is not destroyed, it is pure, it is virgin. So a work of art untouched by time. Okay, no hungry generation tread thee down. Poet was saying in the ode to a nightingale, to the nightingale. And here the poet is saying that time cannot tread thee down because you are timeless. What contrast does the urn represent? Time versus eternity. What kind of scene is depicted on the urn? A pastoral love scene, I talked about it. Pastoral love scene, mad pursuit. These are the expressions, these are the connotations. It is not proved, this is a poem. So there are many powerful connotations. This connotation, pastoral love, wild ecstasy, mad pursuit, are suggestive of some sexual intimacies also. Heard melodies are sweet, but those unheard are sweeter. It means silent music is more pleasing to the imagination. A music that is silent, this music has no tune, but still is more endearing, is more admirable. Okay. Why does Keats emphasize the permanence of urn's image? To contrast with human mortality. Human beings are mortal beings, subject to die, unlike the immortality of Grecian urn. Again I will refer Nightingale. Which line you remember? You immortal bird, and here immortal urn. So it is Keats's tendency to immortalize the work of art. That was symbolic bird, nightingale, and this is ekphrastic object, visual work of art, inanimate object, right? What is the paradoxical about the lovers on the urn? So they will never age or change. So in this world nobody is going to die, nobody is going to change or is subject to change. Everything will remain still and forever and young. What does Keats call the urn in the final stanza? A foster child of silence and slow time. What emotion does Keats feel toward the urn? Admiration and awe. What is ironic about the eternal happiness of the figures on the urn? They never get to experience real life. They are aware of their eternity. They are trapped in sadness. They can move but are frozen. They never get to experience real life. That's the point here. The urn is addressed as a sylvan historian. What does sylvan mean? Sylvan, related to the forest. So some mysterious historian in the forest, because there is domineering nature of the pastoral country life. What is the significance of the unchanging trees on the urn? They symbolize eternal youth, they symbolize death, they show how lifeless art is? No. They represent loneliness? No. They symbolize eternal youth. What is Keats's attitude toward mortality in the poem? He accepts it as inevitable, he rejects it in favor of art's permanence, he finds it frightening, he ignores it entirely, he rejects it in favor of art's permanence. Okay, so he finds much importance in art's permanence. Why will the musician on the urn never stop playing? He will never stop playing. He will continue playing forever. Why? Because he is not worried. He is not frustrated. He is not tired, unlike human beings. He is cursed. He is a symbol of timelessness. He is unaware of time. He is waiting for an audience. So the right answer is he is a symbol of timelessness. It is a timelessness of work of art. Okay, ideal one. What happens to the sacrifice shown on the urn? It is completed, it is abandoned, it is frozen in time, it is described in greater detail. It is frozen in time, it is frozen piece of art, right? Okay, what is the famous concluding line of the poem? You know this. Beauty is truth, truth beauty. है ना? Beauty is truth, truth beauty. ऐसे लाइन उठा के पूछा जा सकता है. ओके कि 4 लाइन दे दिया जाएगा और 4 मैचिंग हो सकता है कि ये कौन से ओड में है, कौन से पोएम में है, एंड यू हैव टू मैच. दैट्स वाई द इम्पॉर्टेंट लाइन्स आर टू बी रिमेंबर्ड. सारे जितने इम्पॉर्टेंट लाइन है वो हमें याद रखना बहुत ज़रूरी है. ठीक है. Why is the urn compared to eternity? Because it does not change, because it is worshipped, because it can be destroyed, because it is unnatural, because it does not change, it will never change. Okay, it is unchangeable. What emotion is absent in the poem? Love, fear, jealousy, happiness. Obviously, there is no touch of jealousy at all in this poem. It is full of love, full of excitement, full of happiness, and full of ecstasy. Next, which poetic device is most commonly used in the poem? Simile, metaphor, alliteration, hyperbole. तो इसमें मेटाफर बहुत ज़्यादा यूज हुआ है. सिल्वन, हिस्टोरियन, या एंड मेनी अदर्स. सिमिली मतलब 2 dissimilar objects compared with a linker, like, so, as much as. ऐसे लिंकर को जोड़ के सिमिली होता है. ओके, सिमिली इज अ फिगर ऑफ स्पीच इन विच अ कंपैरिजन इज मेड बिटवीन 2 dissimilar objects with linker, like and others. Metaphor, there is no linker. There will be comparison between 2 dissimilar objects, लेकिन उसमें कोई लिंकर नहीं रहेगा. मैं एक एग्जांपल देता हूँ. सिमिली इज लाइक द विलेज गर्ल डांसेस लाइक ए पीकॉक. So the village girl, one object, peacock another one, and I am comparing. The point of dancing is compared here. Okay, and how I am combining the 2 objects into one? By the use of like. The village girl dances like a peacock. ये हो गया simile. Metaphor अगर बोला जाए तो metaphor होगा ऐसा. The village girl is a peacock. मतलब I am comparing the point of dancing. The way the village girl dances is very much peacock like, है ना. Alliteration मतलब जहाँ पे बार बार एक ही वर्ड यूज होगा, एक ही साउंड या तो एक ही वर्ड यूज होगा, that is alliteration. But if there is more effect into it, that is called sibilance. Slow, still, silence, sylvan. This sound, hissing sound, is what we call sibilance. Important. In Ode on a Grecian urn, this sibilance is used very much. Hyperbole metaphysical poetry में ज़्यादा यूज होता है. Okay, especially by Andrew Marvell to his coy mistress, and John Donne, Sun Rising, and Go and Catch a Falling Star. ये पूरा hyperbolic title ही है ना जॉन डन का. Hyperbole is more used in metaphysical poetry. और metaphor बहुत ज़्यादा यूज होता है रोमांटिक पोइट्री में. बस. सो आज के लिए इतना ही. दीज आर सम इम्पॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चंस. ओके, एंड स्पेशली वी हैव टू फोकस on the lines for explanation. Okay, explanatory lines जितना है उसमें हमें ज़्यादा ध्यान देना है. Okay, so this is what we have done, Ode on a Grecian urn. Okay, in the next class we will do another ode, maybe ode to melancholy or ode to psyche. Let's see. Okay, so I will come back with a different ode. पहले हम Keats को complete करेंगे. Okay, ठीक है, आज के लिए इतना ही. Thank you so much.